The 2008 Detroit Lions, mostly known for being not good. Really not good. Like they didn't win a game, and they were the first team in 30 or 40 years to do that in the NFL. The first team to ever go 0-16. But in today's video, I'm going to attempt to save them. Can we stop them from going 0-16? And can we just turn that around? Maybe 16-0, a Super Bowl maybe, a playoff win maybe? Maybe that's a little bit too far, but we're going to see what we can do with one of the worst teams in NFL history today in Madden 09. And a little refresher on who was on this team 14 years ago. Jon Kitna is the highest overall quarterback. You also got Drew Stanton and Dan Orlovsky, who probably made the most memorable play for that team.
You just can't do that. You have to realize, and you can see him, he didn't even know he was out of bounds.
In the backfield, you got Kevin Smith, Tatum, Bell, fullback, nothing to write home about. The wide receiver core on this team is great. Roy Williams, you got Megatron, who's already 1 year into his career, and some pretty solid rated receivers alongside with them. You got their now head coach, Dan Campbell, at tight end. Their offensive line is solid. You know, they got high 70s, low 80s. Worse offensive lines have played in the league. Their defensive line, once again, solid. I mean, it's nothing maybe to write home about, but they got some solid players there. Their linebacking core is pretty solid as well, other than the middle linebacker position, although that is currently filled by a rookie. We'll have to see how he does. The secondary's looking all right. Brian Kelly's back there, former Buccaneer. You got Daniel Bullocks and Dwight Smith as the safeties. You got Jason Hanson kicking field goals. Nick Harris as the punter. Looking at the preseason of year one, Jon Kitna definitely won himself the starting job. 7 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Kevin Smith's probably going to be a running back for year one. We'll give the rookie a shot. Roy Williams got hurt, though, in the preseason, out for half the year. You hate to see that. So Megatron, who didn't have a very busy preseason, is really going to have to step it up this year. And then defensively, I mean, Alex Lewis got 5 sacks in 4 games. Obviously, it's just preseason. We'll see how that translates to the regular season. Well, I think you could say season 1 of this rebuild was a success. I mean, we won 6 more games than they did in real life. Despite a slow start after the bye, they got on a 2-game winning streak over the Bears and Vikings. Just taking a look at the rest of the schedule, it was kind of up and down. We started Jon Kitna throughout the first half of the season, but after we had a bad record and he had a bad stat line, Dan Orlovsky got himself the starts, and, you know, he did battle some injuries, which is why Kitna has so many more yards and interceptions and whatnot. But holy crap, 71 sacks between 2 quarterbacks. That is horrendous. Orlovsky was definitely the better of the 2 quarterbacks. We did pick up Shaun Alexander partway through the season, and he was actually playing better than Kevin Smith until he went down with an injury. Smith actually had a really slow start to the season, but I'm glad to see he got 700 yards and 3 touchdowns. Calvin Johnson had a great season, 100 receptions, 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns, and at like the halfway point of the season, he had all but 1 of our receiving touchdowns. Roy Williams finally did come back from injury just to get hurt again. No touchdowns, just under 300 yards for him this season, but it was very much the Megatron show, not much else receiving-wise. See, this offensive line, holy cow, 11 sacks, 14. That is a very bad look there. And let's take a look at defensively, not a bunch of TFL. Sacks, he got 10. That leads the team. Ernie Sims had 8. Lewis only had 5. That's as many as he had all preseason, but he did also have 3 interceptions. I mean, this was definitely better than how this team performed in real life. Holy crap! The winner of Super Bowl 43 was the Patriots over the Saints. 60-10. That is insane that a team put up 60 points in the Super Bowl. That's a new record for a biggest blowout. Holy mackerel. All right, we're going to see if Marty Schottenheimer's interested in becoming our head coach. And he is. All right, good. Jon Kitna retired because I was about to cut him. All right, we're going to start off free agency by bringing back our kicker, Jason Hanson. Dan Orlovsky, he wasn't horrible last year, so we're going to give him a shot with another contract. The former MVP, Shaun Alexander, yeah, he's a little washed up. He's old for a running back, but he was probably the best running back we had last year before he got hurt, so we might as well bring him back. And we'll also re-sign Sean McDonald. Free agency went way better than I thought it would. We went after the big dog, Ray Lewis, and we got him. He's getting a little bit up there in age, but that is still a huge signing. Went after Brandon Jacobs. He ends up going back to New York. There weren't very many good quarterbacks on the free agency market, but Jake Delhomme, he's coming off a solid season with Carolina, 2,800 yards, 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Nothing spectacular, but also not horrible. And then we also went out and got a right tackle. In the draft, we had the 7th overall pick, and with that, we selected Brad Penn, a tackle. He's an 84 overall. In the second round, shoring up on that offensive line, we got a left guard with Newberry because we cannot be giving up 70 sacks a season. Then we grabbed Randy Long, a tight end, who's an 80 overall. Not bad at all for a 3rd round pick. Then later on in the draft, we got Dwayne Manning, possibly related to Peyton and Eli, 76 overall. Not too bad for a backup quarterback, as he will most likely be. Leon Wheeler, outside linebacker, 74. And then we wrapped up with pick number 199. Maybe he'll be the Tom Brady of centers, William Young. He's a 70 overall. And in the second wave of free agency, we grabbed a Nate Webster, an outside linebacker, along with a right guard. Another season, another 6-10 record. This time we started off slow once again, and then kind of picked things up halfway through the year before a bad losing streak right there at the end of the season. And then we shut out the playoff-bound Giants, so I don't know what that's all about. Jake Delhomme played about how I figured he would, 3,300 yards, 24 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Looks like he might have dealt with some injuries or something. Orlovsky came in and 4 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That's not great. Sacks are down, and by down I mean we had like 60 this season, which that's 10 less. That's still not good. Kevin Smith ran for 1,000 yards and 4 touchdowns. You'll love to see something like that. Randy Long, our tight end, had almost 100 receptions, 700 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I wonder if he won Rookie of the Year. We'll have to check. Another great season for Megatron. Roy Williams, I'm not sure if he dealt with injuries or not this season. Kind of an underwhelming year if he didn't. Even if he did, I guess that's still kind of underwhelming. Offensive line, center gave up 11. The rookie gave up 10. The other rookie gave up 10 more sacks. Look at Ray Lewis, though, a $135 tackles, 2 TFLs, and 10 sacks. Ernie Sims, I put him on the defensive line. He was like a 94, 93 overall outside linebacker. Put him on the defensive line, though. He turns into a 99 overall. And he went out there and he got to the quarterback. And then we got some good interceptions, too. So we're playing some solid football. We got to be playing some better football, though, if we want to be playing in January. Oh, man, our boy Randy Long just missed out on Rookie of the Year. He lost to this running back, Carlos Dawkins. He had a great season, so fair enough. And in Super Bowl 44, the Saints get it done just like they did in real life. Here's they defeat the Tennessee Titans. Uh-oh, we've operated in the red for the last 2 seasons. So, I mean, this rebuild could really take a turn if things don't get better this year. So we got 2 players retiring. First, our kicker, Jason Hansen, and then our future head coach, Dan Campbell. All right, so re-signing players in the offseason, and we're going to bring back our top cornerback on a 3-year deal. Alex Lewis is coming off a pretty good season, so we're going to be bringing him back. Dwight Smith has been a solid safety for us. We're going to be bringing him back. Mike Fury's been a great number 3 or 4 option to have on the roster, so he's going to be sticking around. If we wanted this team to take that next step, we needed to fix the most important position on the team. Sure, Jake Delhomme was fine, but Carson Palmer is better. He's coming off of an injury-riddled year with Cincinnati, hit free agency. We're going to bring him in, and hopefully we can get the most out of him, especially with those great wide receivers we have. We tried to upgrade the strong safety position. Instead, Wilson goes and signs with San Francisco. Tried to improve the offensive line, but the guard we went after signed with Cleveland. We also got a new kicker, 95 overall. Hopefully he can be good for us. We also tried getting Willie Parker, but we're unable to. Recapping our draft, it started off great. 9th overall pick, Jordan Cumberland, 87 overall linebacker. You'll love to see it. Second round, we got PJ Rogers, an 81 overall defensive end. Then we got a running back in the 3rd round, followed by a center, a corner, a fullback, and we wrapped up with a guard. All right, well, since we signed Carson Palmer, we're not going to need Jake Delhomme on the roster anymore. We're going to send him to Houston in exchange for a free safety, Ken Hamlin. second wave of free agency, and there were some big names out there, and you know, we just went all in on the top dog, Ed Reed, and couldn't get him. He goes to the Colts, who apparently made room for him by cutting Peyton Manning. I'm actually interested to see where he signed. He went to the Giants, replacing Eli Manning, who just went to the 49ers, I want to say. Anyway, we did get Charles Woodson. Granted, he's getting up there in age, but still a good corner to have. And then a rookie, not UDFA, he was actually a second-round pick by the Panthers, didn't get signed. Brought him in, maybe he can compete for the guard job. Okay, so just before the season starts, we really desperately need a center. The Bills got one here in Newberry. He's 34 years old, but we need a center. He's like an 80-something overall. So we're going to be sending over our third-round pick in the upcoming draft to the Bills in exchange for their center and fifth-round pick. Well, going into Week 17, we have an 8-7 record. That's the best we've had in the 3 years so far. But we're already on the outside looking in, and depending on our financial situation, this could be the last game for the Detroit Lions, and you guys know I always like getting a little bit of gameplay, so we're gonna get at least a little bit against the Vikings. But just quickly before we do that, I want to take a look at the stats, and Carson Palmer really turned his season around. 4,000 yards, 31 touchdowns, 15 picks. I say he turned his season around because throughout the first 4 games, he had 4 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. By mid-season, it was a little bit better. I think 13 touchdowns to 14 interceptions, and he only threw 1 pick in the second half of the season. We went on a good win streak. He was still sacked 55 times, my goodness. Kevin Smith also had a really slow start to the season, but then I think once Palmer got a little bit better, started taking a little bit of pressure off of the ground game, and then that allowed Smith to go off. Megatron had another Megatron type year, and then the young tight end was playing good too. Offensive line, left tackle, and right guard gave up the most sacks, but even like 8 and 9, that's still a lot to be given up, I feel like. Ray Lewis, $113 for tackles, 12 sacks here. Ernie Sims, he's up to 7 sacks now. He only had 1 like halfway through the season, so you know this team feels like it was starting to come together in the second half, but it was just a tad too late. The Minnesota Vikings are going to be the team taking the division this year, and a big reason for that is because of quarterback Phillip Rivers, who they just signed in the offseason. So both of us, you know, signed big quarterbacks. Just worked out a tad better for them so far. Oh, that's not a good start to the game. One of our best linebackers already checking out. All right, handoff goes to Adrian Peterson, and he's already gashing our defense into our territory. Handoff goes to Peterson again. Nice move. Adrian Peterson, he can do this all day. And they're going to run it with Evans, gashing the defense. Great blocking. He's gone. Touchdown, Minnesota. Adrian Peterson gets a little bit of a breather, but that doesn't stop this Minnesota run game from gashing our defense. All right, I want to get a look at what Carson Palmer can do with these receiving threats. Or how about just his fullback in the flat if they're going to leave him open. 3rd and inches. They run commit. We do the play fake. That doesn't stop them from getting to Palmer, though. All right, we're going to do some simming now. As Adrian Peterson, holy cow, he just keeps running it over and over. And they get a touchdown out of it. Let's sim our next drive, too. See what the computer can do with this team. Picking up solid yards, time by time, play by play. And we get on the board with a field goal. Man, it's so nice having the Super Sim. This is the first Madden they did it in. And it's the only one on the PS2 that I have. Over the middle, caught by Gaines, and finally wrestled down there. 3rd and 10. Pass is picked off by Buchanan. Oh, here's Rivers to throw. Wide open on that right side, and Battle dregs the toes. That's one thing I really like about 09 that like something like 07 doesn't have. You never see anyone like drag the toes like that in Madden 07. It's nice that this isn't like a complete copy and paste of something like 07. It's got its own special things to it. Palmer going deep to the right side, looking for Megatron. He's got him! That's the play we've been waiting for. And he's got him! Let's go! What a throw by Palmer. Ill-advised, but I mean, it's to Megatron, so. Palmer looking to throw. And he's going to get spun around. Incomplete pass. He took too long. And touchdown, Vikings. That is likely the nail in the coffin. Rough end of the season there for Detroit, falling to Minnesota 24-10. Super Bowl 45 is the Chargers over the Eagles, and since they're without Phillip Rivers, their quarterback this year was Sage Rosenfels. All right, now it's time for the moment of truth. Will the Lions be able to stay in Detroit, or is this the end of the line? Well, we made money this year, so I think that means the Detroit Lions are still around. Well, looks like we moved on from Jake Delhomme at the right time. I was just looking at the retired players, and he's one of them. 16 touchdowns, 22 interceptions for the Texans. And the only guy on our team retiring is Brian Kelly. Even though he hasn't been the most productive receiver in the world, Roy Williams is still at 93 overall, 29 years old, so we're going to be re-signing him. Ernie Sims, 26 years old, 98 overall, no, ever since we moved him to defensive end, even though he's technically still an outside linebacker there, not on the depth chart, and he's going to get this big 3-year, $22 million deal. Well, we traded for James Newberry, so we might as well keep him around. During the first wave of free agency, we went after a 99 overall left tackle. We got to fix this offensive line, and I think that's going to be a big help right there, protecting Palmer's blind spot. We tried to get Vipers legend Ike Taylor on the squad. He ends up going and signing down in Houston, so instead, we grabbed Nate Clements to help boost up our secondary. We also got Devin Hester as a mostly special teams guy, but maybe you can use some of that speed on the offensive side of things, and then we also got a strong safety in Brian Russell. Alright, so recapping the draft, we had the 19th overall pick, and with it we grabbed Mark Stubbs at defensive end. He's only an 81 overall, but I mean, I guess that's still solid, especially for second half of the first round. We then grabbed a defensive tackle in the second. Later on, we grabbed Josh Wolford, older cousin of John Wolford. We grabbed a free safety later on, then a strong safety and a left guard, and then another strong safety who we're not going to be able to sign because we only have $60,000 in cap room right now. And to free up some of that cap space, we're going to be trading one of our left tackles to the Ravens, since we did bring in that 99 overall tackle in exchange for a 4th round pick and their center, so that way they don't exceed 55 players on the roster. Let's go! We got all the pieces coming together, 11-5. That should get us into the playoffs. Well, we started off with a loss to the Vikings. We were 2-2 to begin the season, but then after our bye, we were 3-2. Went on a nice little winning streak there before falling to the Saints. Then we beat the Chargers. We were the only team that beat the defending champions all season long, and that's when I knew that we had something special. We beat the Vikings, who were great. It was nice having the 1-15 Bears inside of our division, and we finished 11-5. And our wild card matchup is going to be against those Dallas Cowboys. Looking at the stats this season, almost 5,000 yards for Carson Palmer, 45 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. He might be an MVP, almost 70% completion percentage. Still sacked a lot, but despite that, still able to have a great season. Kevin Smith, probably his worst year, 700 yards and 1 touchdown, but that's because we were so pass happy this season. Megatron, 1,600 yards and 13 touchdowns. He might have a best wide receiver award coming his way. Randy Long, the tight end, he's headed to the Pro Bowl with his 11 touchdowns and 700 yards. Defensively, Cumberland, he had 101 tackles this season, 5 sacks. Ernie Sims with 12 and 6 interceptions for Nate Clements. Unfortunately, he's not going to be healthy for our wild card matchup. And when it came to kick and punt return, Devin Hester, he was out for about half the season, but that didn't stop him from getting a kick return and 2 punt return touchdowns. And indeed, Carson Palmer is your MVP. You don't just throw 45 touchdowns and not take home the MVP. What a season from him. So Carson Palmer wins Best Quarterback, and we got Megatron taking home the Best Wide Receiver Award. Well, it feels like we're right on schedule. The year is 2011. The Lions have made the playoffs for the first time in a while behind a quarterback wearing number 9 who threw over 40 touchdown passes, which is a franchise record. Feels very similar to real life. If only we were in the Superdome, that would just make it a little bit better. Romo's under center. Handoff goes to Westbrook. Nice stiff arm there, and he's going to pick up the first down. And that is Brian Westbrook in the backfield. They're changing sides on the rivalry. They're going to give it to him, and he picks up a few yards. All right, it's 3rd down and 9. We're going to see Romo throw for the first time today, and he finds his man wide open. He's to the races. He is gone. Touchdown, Cowboys. They strike first here in the playoffs. First play in the postseason for Detroit in a long time, and it's going to be a 9-yard run. 2nd down and 1, and a team that was very pass happy this season starts off the playoffs with 2 straight runs. And he rolls right into a sack as he unnecessarily went out of the pocket. 3rd and long after a sack. Palmer going deep for Megatron. Incomplete. We're going to jump into a little bit of simming now. We'll go to the next possession. We'll see what the Cowboys do here as they get a nice 24-yard pass and then they lose the football. Let's see what our offense can do with it. 4 yards, 6 yards. Back-to-back incompletions, and we get 3 points out of it. Let's see what Dallas does on their ensuing drive now. Okay, yeah, there we go. Getting the stop, and then we'll sim another one of our drives. 5 yards, lost a yard, and we go 3 and out. See what the Cowboys do. It's been a very defensive battle so far. All right, and another punt by us. Cowboys, they're going to try to put together a little bit of a 2-minute drill. Romo hits a couple of his players, and they're going to be up 14-3. Into the second half of action now. Here's a play fake, and Palmer once again can't get his pass off. 2nd and 15. We got Megatron. We're just 1 for 6 on 3rd down today. Can we get it here? No, not quite. Dang it. The Cowboys driving downfield, trying to extend what's already a 2-score lead. Nice catch by Witten over the middle. Toss to the left here for Westbrook. Good blocking there, and a tackle's going to be missed. He breaks this one down the left sideline, and he's gone. Quick throw is going to be caught. He's got his tight end wrestled down after picking up 15. Nice run up the middle there by Smith. Gets us into Cowboys territory. 1 for 7 on 3rd down today. And we've got Megatron over the middle. Let's go. Looking for Megatron. Oh, good coverage. Haven't been great on 3rd down today, but there's another conversion to Megatron. Trying to get into the end zone for the first time today. Looking for the corner. Oh, we almost had it. 3rd and goal. Quick throw. Touchdown. Detroit Lions. They're still in it. Back to some simming. Let's see what Dallas does with the football here. As they're putting together a pretty nice drive. Oh, man. Another touchdown there. All right, let's see what we do on our ensuing drive. Can we please respond? Nope, we go 3 and out. It's the 4th quarter now. We're down by 18. Romo and this team is now up by a lot. Oh, there we go. We got Megatron just across midfield. As if we have really much of a shot in this game. 2 career comebacks for Carson Palmer. He needs the comeback of a lifetime here. 25 points in 3 minutes. Testing the one-on-one coverage there with Megatron. He's going to be picked off. Calvin Johnson effect is real. Going deep for Megatron, and he's got him there. We got to hurry up. High snap here. Going deep for him, and he's got him down at the goal line. If only we weren't down by 25, that'd be way more exciting. All right, so looking for some garbage time points at the end of the game. It's going to be intercepted. Maybe they'll get themselves some garbage time points. Not quite. And as if that's not like the most Lions thing ever, where you put together a great season. You have an MVP quarterback. You make it to the playoffs for the first time in a while, and then you lose by 25. Looking at the Super Bowl, it's the Vikings over the Chargers. You know it's Madden when you get a Super Bowl that's like that. Anyway, that's going to be a wrap for today's video. Maybe a little bit disappointing, but it's also, it's the Detroit Lions. What are you going to do with them? I like that we, got an MVP quarterback out of Carson Palmer. We had some good signings there. But after 4 years, I guess this would be successful because they never went 0-16 in this universe. So if we're just going to get right down to it, successful rebuild in my books. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, leaving a like is always appreciated. Go ahead and leave a comment of rebuilds in old PS2 or Xbox 360 Madden games that you want to see. Well, until next time, this has been Jeffrey, reminding you to stay moist.